What's up, y'all? It's your girl, EJ.
And I'm Tika.
And it's time to talk about The Boys again, y'all. This is episode 4 entitled The Female of the Species.
Talk that talk, TV. We back again.
Okay, y'all, this episode right here, I ain't even gonna lie, it was hella chaotic, but I did chuckle at one particular part because the way the Deep is actually out here acting like he is a victim and the way he is out here wanting to save the Dolphins, yeah, he was doing too much on this episode. But overall, I really, really enjoyed this episode. I felt like we learned a lot.
Yeah, we definitely learned a lot, and we're gonna definitely, and we're introduced to a new character. The female species, that title is there for a reason, and so we're gonna definitely dive into what these females in this particular episode are doing.
Okay, y'all. So anyway, when this particular episode opens up, I think this is probably one of the most interesting parts about it because we're learning a little bit more about this character, right? We're learning a little more about Billy, who, I ain't even gonna lie, when we first started this out, I literally thought this man was the bad guy. But then to find out that he is not the bad guy and is on this mission to get rid of these supes because clearly he has something that is triggering him. And we learn and we see in this vision that he's having, and he's, in bed making love to this woman. You can see the wedding ring on his finger. So clearly this is his wife that he is married to. And then we get a little glimpse of her on a cam footage, which looks like maybe like a street cam footage. And it's dated like, I believe 2012. And then she's kind of distraught. Like, I don't know what's going on with her, but she looks distraught. And I'm like, okay, there's a backstory here, and I need this backstory.
When they gave us that moment of Becca, we kind of finally got a more humanistic side to Butcher. We finally got a real, like a humble side to him, like who he was before he became this angry person that is literally going for the 7. Clearly, there is something, like you said, EJ, that's causing him to have the reaction towards the 7 that he does. But in this episode, they don't give us the exact of what actually happened, but they do open that door and introduce us to Becca. So I definitely love that moment for sure.
If you haven't checked out the recap for episode 3, then you definitely got to go check out the recap for episode 3. My girl Tika broke it down. And listen, we learned in that episode that Popclaw, which is A-Train's girl, she out here snitching hard. She did not care about, she was trying to save her own self. She didn't care about A-Train at this point. And so now with that information, right, we have this stakeout that's going on because now they know to go look for the noodle place, the guy with the noodles. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're in there, they're having a conversation. Frenchie and MM clearly are at odds. We can tell that there was tension between them. We can tell that there's some sort of backstory between what's going on with them because MM don't want nothing to do with Frenchie. He just don't want nothing to do with him. But when they go into the building where the guys are, they go into this little underground thing and they're going to find this girl and she's going to be sitting in the thing. And Frenchie, dumb self, decides that, I'm just going to let her go. And MM try to tell him, like, dude, don't do it. We on a mission to come get this Compound V. That's it. That's all we supposed to be doing. But girl, Tika, he let out.
You could tell that there was some sort of connection, some empathy that Frenchie was feeling for the female. And we're going to find out later on why he felt the way that he did and why he let her out of that cage. Like, she's caged, like they had her locked up like she was a caged animal. And so Frenchie, he had to act, and it was a mistake of him, letting her out. She ran rampant. She did what she did. I wouldn't want to run into her in the middle of the night because she would handle some business. That's all I'm saying. I would take the female if I needed to fight somebody.
Okay, that part, because the way that she came out of there punching people in the guts and pulling out guts and punching people in the eye and clapping, I said, oh God, wait a minute, I wasn't ready. Hold on. So, I mean, it definitely wasn't a good idea, but I do see what you're saying. It does feel like they have some sort of connection. It feels like there's something between them. He feels like he can kind of get to her, but she was like, look, I got to get up out of here. And she was on a mission to go. And we saw that Frenchie found that little piece of paper under where she was sitting. And it looked like it was some sort of like train information or some sort of information that maybe was a clue. Now, of course, him and MM are still not seeing eye to eye at this point. But I feel like Billy is like that go-between between them. Like he's gonna try to make sure that we are gonna be good together. Decides that he wants to go out on this mission. The therapy session, first of all, was too much for me. I said, really, we up in here in therapy talking about how you want to tell them about how you feel about the Dolphins and all this stuff. I'll never get out of my mind that this man is a degenerate. I can't even get the word out. I'll never get that out of my mind. I will always look at him like the man who was sitting up there with your junk out, doing the absolute most.
In his mind, I think he's really more caring. Yeah, he is the fish person. Like he is the character or the soup that can actually talk to the fish under the sea. He can, manipulate or have communication with the dolphin and all that stuff. But I don't know if it's more of him trying to change his reputation by doing this. Because at this point, we just know you as a pervert. We know you as a deviant. You know that we know you as a disgusting person who pulled your junk out on an innocent character or innocent suit such as Starlight. So, I'm not feeling sorry for him. I know we all need a little therapy from time to time, but no. And then he took it a little too deep.
Absolutely out of control. Now, there's a point where he is going to go and try to pitch his little deal to Madeline. And Madeline is like, look, just stick to what you know, okay? Because what we're not trying to do is listen to this right now. But I do want to move on and talk about Voight and this PR spin that they had about Translucent. So at this point, Translucent has been unalived. Huey has taken out Translucent, right? And now they have also already found the body because they left a message. And I know that was all Billy that left that message, listen, I'm coming for you. Like, we coming. And now they're like, how can we actually get out here and say that somebody who was supposed to be unkillable is actually gone? So they come up with these ideas, and I ain't even gonna lie, these two right here, they funny to me, but they come up with the idea like maybe we say that he's on some mission, some M13 mission and all of these things, right? And while they're doing that, trying to come up with this spin, Madeline gets this call that says, hey, there's this plane that has been hijacked.
The whole mission also, along with getting money, is trying to get the supes in the military. So to find out that one of their main, it's supposed to be their strongest, one of their strongest supes was able to be unalive, that takes away the true, superheroes are supposed to be able to withstand anything, but that's clearly a lie. And so they're trying to switch the story. They're trying to flip the story to make it seem as if, like you say, he's on an MS-13 mission. He's out there, fighting against the gangs. He's out there doing things, just to cover the fact that he's really truly gone. Will it work? Not quite sure. But, that was their whole plan behind. And then they used freaking Frat to come up with the ideas. That was just hilarious to me as well.
Now, before we talk about that whole airplane situation, I want to dive into A-Train real quick, because at this moment, A-Train knows that Popclaw knows something. Like, he knows that she told somebody, because like he said before, the only people who know are me and you. It's me and you. Okay, anyway, I was really about to go into a whole thing. But those are the only people that know. So if I didn't tell it, then you had to tell it. But she still is adamant that she didn't say anything. I said, girl, you just gonna down there on that bridge, huh? Just gonna keep going with it. I feel like she should just went ahead and said something. If she had just went ahead and been like, babe, they had me. I had to sell it because of X, Y, and Z. Like, just looking at her whole story and feeling like she's like this D-level superhero at this point, and just, I don't know. And then she got A-Train out here. He don't want to really claim her and all of this. So I get it, but at the same time, girl, no. Please just tell this man the truth.
Yeah, Popclaw definitely has a whole lot going on, from squishing people's domes with her cheeks to injecting herself with compound V, being hyped up, doing all the weights and everything that you could think of. And then this man who you supposed to love, who don't want to claim you, and he knows, like you said, EJ, he knows that someone else knows about Compound V. They know where to find it. They know, or at least know how to somewhat find it. And she's the only other person that knew. So he's still, even through all of that, he's trying to, say, hey, let me take you somewhere so we can protect you that way, because this isn't going away. We do need to go somewhere to get you out of the limelight. And so, she hugs him and everything, as if she really didn't tell Butcher and everybody like what is really going on. So she's playing her role. She doesn't, I don't know why she don't think that A-Train is gonna be able to find out the truth, but she's gonna hold on to it. She's taking that thing to the GRAVE with her, y'all.
Okay, that part. Female who is on a mission, y'all. She on her own mission. She like, look, I'm about to go take out these folks. And while we have no rhyme or reason why she's doing what she's doing, she is very specific about it. She goes to this salon place. Everybody's getting their nails done and stuff. It's supposed to be a place where you can relax and do all the things. She come up in there with bloody, they ain't got no shoes on, legs full of blood at the bottom of it, just tracking blood everywhere, and go straight into the back and handle her business. I said, I'm glad y'all didn't show that, because we already know that her kills are way different from everybody else, and she is not holding out on anything. But all she does is do that, and then she leaves. I was like, what in the world is happening? Now, at some point, we are going to find out that this lady was an immigrant. She smuggled in immigrants. She had all these other things going on. So that probably, most likely tells us that she was somebody that she had smuggled in and maybe even sold. Most likely is what I'm thinking is the reason why she came in there, because there's a little girl in there that says, when they ask her, did you know her? Like MM asked her, and she says that they hadn't seen her in a year. This right here is going to break my heart, y'all. This is going to break my heart, because I feel like Huey is going to mess up in a major way.
I think he is doing what needs to be done. He knows that, Annie is not happy with being a part of VOT, about being a part of these particular supes. And so I think and just looking at it, I think there's going to be some type of way where he'll be able to kind of get her somewhat over into his side. But right now, he still has a mission. He still has anger for A-Train. He still can't stand the supes. And so, it was a cute little date where he convinced her to be yourself. Don't try to hold back just because, you say you've bowled before. You're an avid bowler. So don't hold back on me. Let me see what you really got. And so she literally swings that ball down and it literally does a strike. And he's like, okay, so that's the type of, okay, now we're being ourselves. But in the midst of all of that, while she's throwing them strikes, honey, he went and cloned her phone, did whatever he needed to do so he can get all the tea as to where it is she going, who she talking to in regards to Vaught. He's not trying to invade her personally, but he really needs to know what's going on with Vaught. And so he played his game. He played the game, and but I think he does like her, really, really like her. But he also, what brought him back to reality was when he saw Robin standing there, like out of the blue. He was just like, oh, I'm here for a reason. And that's when he goes into the phone and he clones it and does what needs to be done. So always have a audio visual guy on your team. They will get you in some stuff.
I think there was a moment when he asked about Translucent, and she tells him about how he was a loner and how he had a son and how he probably wasn't as much as of an a-hole as the rest of them, because he just really, more than anything, he had a boundaries problem. I think that made him feel a little bit bad about what he did, because when you really think about it, maybe Translucent, he just really wanted to know, like what were you doing at this place? Like, to him, it looked like they were infiltrating. And we know that the rest of these jokers can be a-holes, but there are some of them who actually have some empathy and who actually don't want to do what they're doing. They don't like it. Like, we've seen that with Maeve, and we're going to see that much more in this particular episode here. I do think it's real important to point out that we learned that he says she's a good person, and Billy says she's a 7. Like, that's all he sees. And that's why I know that there is something that is lying deep that we really need to get to at some point, because I need to know.
My God, it was already bad enough that the plane was going down. They had been infiltrated by what they call those people, hijackers. They were hijacked. Literally, the plane had been hijacked, and this was the opportunity for Homelander and Maeve to do something honorable. But instead, Homelander goes in with his little X-rays after he gets to the panel where the pilot is already knocked out and the driver is there. So Homelander is like doing more damage, or the hijacker is there. Homelander is doing way more damage than necessary. After that, the plane is literally going down. Like, there's no saving them. But Maeve is like, take them out one at a time. He's like, oh, take 100 and something trips. Yeah, do that. Do something. Go hold the plane up. Do something. Guide it to a safer place. But instead, he's like, oh no, we gotta go. We gotta go. Like, we can't save them. And so he, I'm gonna rant on him a little bit later, but if there's a moment where this little girl is like, please, please take me with you, and he's telling everybody, oh, everything's gonna be okay, but he gets to the door and he opens that door, and Maeve is like, just take these two, the mom and the daughter, and Homelander's like, no, leave them. We can't have them telling people how we only save them and let 100 plus other people, pass away. And so he gets off the plane. He grabs Maeve, and they both have to get off the plane, and it goes down. We know what happens at the end of this story for flight 37, whatever, that flight. Oh my God, I felt so bad. I really felt so bad. Homelander, you are garbage.
This was right here is when we really see that Maeve is like, she didn't rock with that at all. She wanted to at least try to save the little girls, which tells me that there's a story behind her as well, because something in her was like, we can at least save them. And the fact that he just was even threatening the people, like I said, this is exactly why you never want to meet your heroes, because they will let you down every single time. And we've already been seeing how dark Homelander is. I mean, we saw it from at the ending of the very first episode, but even then, episode 2, episode 3, like, we keep seeing the darker and darker he has gotten. And this dude is not only dark, but he's also a weird voyeur type of guy. He's just weird altogether. So, that was probably one of the saddest moments, but it was what it was. It just spoke more and more to his character. And it makes me think, how will Maeve shift as a character as we move along? Because I feel like we're going to see some kind of change in her at some point, just because we saw all this humanity in her. Because I was thinking all of these guys got to be horrific, and especially like these main ones. But as we're seeing more of them have like these real emotions, like some of them, because some of them still trash, but you know what I mean. I feel like Maeve is going to be one of those ones, and I think in order for them to really take down the supes, they're going to have some allies within the supes at some point. I know Starlight most likely maybe one at some point, but I think they're going to really need that if they're really going to pull this off. So why she got to be the female?
Not quite yet, because she is the female. She has no real identity at the moment. We don't really know who she is, so we do know for a fact that she is the female, and right now that's what she's gonna be, the female. She's the female, the dangerous female, a whole other type of species, boy. When I tell you, that's the female species they was talking about right there.
Okay, that part. But her and Frenchie had like this little connection of some sort. They're really trying to track her down because they want to try to get to her before A-Train can get to her, because it's really a race who can get to her first. Now, we already know A-Train is super fast, so he can, get around that city real quick. But Frenchie keeps doing these little things, and MM just ain't here for it, to the point where they just get into this whole little blow up at some point after she gets away again, because he didn't throw the gas to put her to sleep. And this is when we find out that, okay, there is some contention here because of whatever happened on a mission that involves Mallory, who was their boss, who gave them some orders, and Frenchie went against the orders. And it ended up, her grandkids ended up paying the ultimate price for this. And he feels like he never follows orders. In this moment, I was torn with Frenchie. Like, I get why he's having these moments. We hear this horrible story about his childhood and how he was taken from his father. But at the same time, I understood MM too. Like, I understood both sides of this story. And it was irritating to see Frenchie always going off script. And I don't know, like, what did you think?
Listen, I was just like, Mother's Milk, Milk and Magnesia, please leave Frenchie alone. Let Frenchie live his life. Frenchie is doing this for a reason. It is a reason why Frenchie is reacting to this girl. Take a moment to actually ask him, hey, why are you so adamant about getting this one girl? But Mother's Milk, like he said, there was a past incident that occurred where, Frenchie, he went off script and, it cost Mallory, their boss, it caused her, some problems with her grandchildren. But Frenchie, when he started talking about how the way that he connects with the female is because, he was trying to talk to the female and tell her, hey, I've been taken from my home. My father took me from my home, and he would take me out, but then some days were good, but then when he brought me back home, he would literally, and looked like he had like cigarette burns on his legs where his father was just doing the birth to him. And so now we find out this is why Frenchie is so connected to this girl. He realizes that she, just like somebody else or just like him, has been taken away from his home. So I just need Mother's Milk to calm down. Let Frenchie do what he's trying to do. There's definitely a reason by it. I understand the past, but Butch, you showed them. Let the past be the past. Like we can't, focus on what happened back then. We gotta focus on what's going on right now. So, Milk and Mac, Mother's Milk. Why is your name Mother's Milk? But anyway,
why did she name him that, girl? I was like, when he said that was his real name, I said, really? Your mama really just decided to name you this?
I would tell that to no one.
Okay, I would have changed my name immediately. Bump this. Ain't no way in the world I'm keeping this name, Mama. I'm sorry, but it got to go. But no, I get where you're coming from. I definitely do. I see both sides of it, and I do see the side of it from Milk and Magnesia, as you call him's perspective as well, because we on a mission, and when you go against the grain, it hurts the mission, and it could cause other people to get hurt. But I do see his pain, and he sees his pain inside of her, and this is making him react the way that he's reacting. So it's one of those things, like, let's just get this Spice Girl analogy and get it together. Because speaking of the Spice Girl analogy, after he gave this Spice Girl analogy, I was like, okay, Billy, I see where you're coming from. But why was they so wild for transitioning right into the deep playing Spice Girls? If you want to be fun. I said, no, they said they just wrong for this.
Yes. First of all, the Deep go to the ocean land and takes a dolphin, and he's having a whole conversation with the dolphin, and the dolphin is talking back to him, because clearly that's what he does. He talked to the fish and all of that stuff. And so he's talking about, the fish is the dolphin is telling him to touch it, her, him, whatever. Are dolphins mammal females? Like, I don't know. Anyway, the fish was telling him to touch him. He's like, wait a minute, I'll do that later. But in the midst of all of that, the police, keep in mind, he just stole something. So the police are literally chasing him down, and the police literally pulls in front of the Deep, and he stops on brakes. And why the dolphin go flying out the window? Head first, nose first. Like, what is going on? But yeah, the Deep, you really messed up, and I think it's about time for them to get rid of the Deep. He needs to, like I said, go on his own island or go in a safe space for other people, because he's just doing too much. You're not even good at even taking your own people, which are your fish, to another place. Like, that's why you suck as a superhero.
Poor dolphin just lost their life when he could have still been out in the water playing somewhere. Okay, yeah, he might not have been getting enough food. We understand. But at least he was alive. This was a horrible death. I'm sorry. This was crazy. But there were a few other things that happened in this episode. Of course, we had A-Train trying to find the female. He actually finally gets to the train station where we track down the female, and he gets to her. He's fast, so he out there, basically beating the brakes off of old girl. She ain't able to fight back on him. She taking out everybody else, but he too fast. clearly for her. But
Right.
again, Frenchie, with the connection, he wants to save her. So he's like, look, everybody, there's A-Train. And then, of course, A-Train got to get in brand, because he got to protect his brand. And she gets away. And then again, Frenchie try to connect with her again. Oh, girl, like, nah, I'm about to take you out. Like, I don't know what y'all got going on. Billy
Butcher.
has
Yep.
a backup plan. Like, Butcher has a backup plan. He throws the gas, puts both of them to sleep. So finally, we're able to get this girl. And I did want to mention that A-Train did still help Pop Claw get out of town, y'all. Like, that boy is whipped for real. Because why?
Right.
Ain't no way in the world I'm doing all of that. But lastly, on this episode, I want to talk about the wreckage scene, because this was the most god awful scene, and this is when we know that Homelander really is completely anal and completely narcissistic and completely just detached from all humanity. And this is when we see him get up there, and he actually says that if they had arrived 3 minutes earlier, that they would have been able to save them. But you are literally the reason why they are not alive. Like, if your little eye things don't take out the panel, y'all might have had a better chance of trying to get that plane down. Somebody could have told y'all how to fly the plane, all of that. But you just went in there doing the absolute most. He didn't have to do that, Tika. Like, he just messed up that entire mission. It was bananas. And then he tries to bring Maeve in on it. And with her one-worded answer, I said, oh, she is not feeling this at all. This was crazy.
Again, Homelander is just disgusting as well. But it was the thing that got me, and considering all the way up to this is what, the 4th episode of Homelander, we've seen how diabolical he could actually be. So it didn't surprise me when he was saying, if we were only 3 minutes earlier, and now he's got the people rallying the people so that they can be a part of the military. Like, that part didn't surprise me, because that's his ultimate goal. He don't need Edgar's speech to convince the people to let them be a part of the military. He can do it on his own. And so that was his way of getting that, what he wanted, getting that done. Now, as far as Maeve and her seeing that baby doll on the shore of that water, that really broke my heart, because she was like, we could have, in her mind, I know she's thinking, we could have done way more than what we did. And so it's literally eating her up. You can tell that she is not pleased with Homelander whatsoever. Now, is she gonna, go off the deep end and do something to get away from him? I'm not quite sure. But yeah, I felt bad for her, and Homelander is just garbage. And the wreckage, everything was on the water, floating by, not just that baby doll, but other items in that water. That was a lot.
Yeah, it was pretty sad. It was pretty sad. But I mean, literally, that's how this episode ended. And I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. I'm locked in. This right here, I'm ready to see how this is gonna progress and how this is gonna go, because they're feeding us these little bits and pieces of the story, and they have like a lot of different things going on. And I love it when a TV show has a lot of depth to it and a lot of backstory. And they haven't even given us half of the backstories yet, and there are so many of them. So listen, you already know we locked in.
Talk that, talk that, talk that, talk that rain. I said what I said.
All right, y'all. So my rant definitely is for Homelander. Disgusting, dirtbag. He's another one with the deeds that I'm not feeling right about now. But I got a few more choice words for him. Hypocrite, fraud, coward, villain, manipulator, betrayer, despicable. Dude, you had the opportunity to literally save 120 plus lives, and you chose to do the opposite, and you only cared about yourself. Even if you had gotten out 50 of them out of that plane, you didn't even put forth the effort. I hope that Maeve takes one of the biggest socks to your brain that she can literally knock you to the floor. You are Sir Garbage. You are garbage, Mr. freaking Homelander.
Okay, listen, I ain't even mad at that rant right there, Tika. But listen, I'm gonna take mine a little bit different because I got a rant for a couple of these boys because they was working my nerve this particular episode. Frenchie and MM, Mother's Milk, because his mama should have never named him that damn name. Okay, but why y'all can't work together? Why we gotta keep bringing up the past first of all? And Frenchie, why you gotta keep going off script? Yes, we get it, the sad story and all of this, but if you are gonna work as a team, you have to work as a team. Okay, not be off here trying to freelance and do your own thing. And Mother's Milk, you got to stop and find out what it really is, what's really going on, and stop all jumping off the ledge every single time something don't exactly go the way that you want it to go. If y'all are going to do this thing, y'all have to do it together because separate is just not going to work. And I need y'all to stop getting on my doggone nerves with all this back and forth. Like, I can't stand it. I need y'all to really, really do better. Lock in so we can do what we need to do. Okay? Period.
Now it's time for the top three, our picks, our takes, no debate.
And definitely coming in at number one for me was the date scene. I love watching Huey as well as Starlight on their date. You know, it was super cute, but he also allowed her to, you know, be herself, told her don't hold back just because of, you know, you're strong and I'm not as strong as you. She tells him how there was a moment where she was in high school and the boy stopped messing around with her or stopped dating her because, you know, she helped him. So I liked that moment. It was a vulnerable moment for the two of them.
Okay, you already know. Coming in at number 2 is going to be that scene where we meet the female and she was out here gouging out eyes and she was out here breaking heads and stuff like that. I don't know what it is, but this show just make me want more and more gore. So that was my top 2 moment.
Yes, girl. And at number 3, it was that moment between Fritchie as well as the female where he has this conversation and he tells her, you know, about how his father took him from home too. And he understands that she just wants to go back home. And so that for me was a heartwarming, even though it was crazy and gory and she ran away, but that was a top moment.
Okay, look at Tika coming in with all the soft moments, y'all. Y'all see me, I'm coming in hard. Tika coming in soft and all vulnerable and stuff. I ain't mad at it. So anyway, y'all, that's what's up with season 1, episode 4 of The Boys, entitled The Female of the Species. Y'all, this episode was everything that I didn't know I needed. We learned a lot. We got a lot. And I was here for it all. And to be fair, I'm ready to get through to the end because I want to see kind of how we're going to go with this. Like, are we going to get some more stories? I feel like there's so many things that I need to know, but I ain't gonna lie, I'm in the thick of it now. I'm locked in. I'm locked and loaded and ready to go.
Yes, I'm definitely locked in, loaded, hanging on the edge of my seat, ready for the next episode. And it's taking me to, even though this is a grimy type project, grimy type film, it's kind of bringing out some softer moments for me. Maybe I need to go get some tissue and cry or something. But it was giving me some of those moments. But the excitement level was everything. I'm here for it. Definitely looking forward to the next episode, EJ.
So anyway, y'all already know what to do. I need to know what y'all top moments of the episode was. First and foremost, drop down in the comments and let us know, what did y'all think just overall of this? How do y'all think this is going to move forward? And please let us know if this is your first time watching The Boys as well. Drop down in the comments and tell us as well. And let us know how you feeling about it since you're going to be watching it along with us. And we're about to get up out of here, y'all. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, turn on the notifications so that you don't miss out on any of our future TDT talks. And we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.
Talk that, talk that, talk that, talk that, talk that, talk that, talk